What's up, y'all? I've got some super sick Braviary buffs and changes, mostly in the form of incredible abilities, move pool additions, and of course the fighting and flying typing. This is one of the few Pokemon where the type change isn't just like oh, this is a ROM hack and you can justify some weird stuff. This is like something that Braviary genuinely should have been, in my opinion. If you read the Pokedex, it's called the Valiant Pokemon. It has stuff like Defiant and Sheer Force, and then if you literally, I'm not even going to read them all. Quite literally every single one of these Pokedex entries just screams flying type. Excuse me, fighting type. It's known for its bravery and pride, and they have more scars, and is a warrior of the sky, and it saves its friends and it fights for its friends, and it literally screams fighting typing. Not to mention that the coloration also indicates fighting typing to me. Not that that's more of a secondary thing, but in general, fighting flying, great dual stab combination, and it goes great with his new abilities. You might see Sheer Force and be thinking he doesn't really have that many good Sheer Force moves to abuse, and you would be right in vanilla. But in this hack, he has all kinds of great Sheer Force boosted moves, both stab and coverage. For stab, you have access to Dual Wing Beat, which is overall 90 base power, Takedown, which is a 110 base power fighting type recoil move. Flying Press is actually exclusive to just Braviary, Farfetch'd, and Hawlucha, the three fighting flying types. And Flying Press is 125 base power, has 0 drawbacks, 10 PP, and it has a 30% paralysis rate. Therefore, I actually added that recently just to make it Sheer Force boosted, so it's actually worth using. Although it does have some weird quirks. Like, for example, it's only neutral on, steels and rocks and ice types. Keep in mind that ice does now resist flying, but that makes your fighting flying combo even better, to be honest, so not a bad thing. In general, your abilities Intimidate is very, very fitting, in my opinion, for Braviary, and I wanted it to match what Minibuzz is going to have as well. I wanted them to kind of have that duality between them. And in general, Intimidate is great for in-game, especially because you can really just Intimidate farm with Roost, which is reteachable via TM. You have really good bulk, 175-75 with Intimidate is really tanky. And in general, you can abuse stuff like Parting Shot, Roost, Battle Cry, which drops the attack and special attack stats by 2. Skirmish is a staple on Braviary because in-game, you're not always going to want that strong recoil move, especially in a Nuzlocke, like Takedown, for example. So Skirmish is a much more reliable fighting type stab option that has 70 base power only. However, it always drops attack and special attack by 1. So if you use that infinite usability capsule, Skirmish goes really well with both Sheer Force and Intimidate. With Intimidate, it's just a really nice, it drops the attacking stats, it does a lot of damage, and it's just a great move. And then with Sheer Force, you get that boost so you can run Life Orb and not take recoil with Sheer Force Life Orb on Skirmish. So yeah, and not to mention Takedown is only in the mid 40s as a TM, so you'll have to wait You'll have to wait anyways. Then you got Flying Press, and yeah, not too many fighting type options still, but it's got all it needs. And then for non-Sheer Force fighting type moves, it has, of course, Close Combat and Superpower. Oh, I should probably put Superpower by level up, shouldn't I? I'll put that at like, I don't know. Here's what I'll do. I'll figure it out at the end of the video, but I'll fix this around. But he'll have Superpower as well by level up because that's only a post-game tutor. 150 base power drops your attack stat by 2, so it's very powerful. Hold on. I'll fix the levels after the video. I'm not gonna worry about it right now, but it'll be there in the 50s for sure, something like that. But in general, it's just awesome. Very, very strong. That 105 speed tier is a lot better, although it is a pretty crowded speed tier. If you check the speed tier guide below. By the way, if you've gotten this far to the video, you probably already know this, but if just in case you don't, and this is your first video of mine you're watching, or if you just haven't done this, go to the description and check out all of the move buffs and changes. 600 plus moves have been buffed or changed in this hack, and those are really important in regards to how the Pokemon will function, so you should definitely give those a look. I laid it out in very nice detail. But yeah, as you can see, there's 19 of them, so that's a pretty crowded speed tier, but it's still a really good one. You can, of course, slap on a Choice Scarf for certain fights. He also has Agility if you want to boost your speed up, although setup sweeping in general is a lot less reliable in this hack because there's a lot of things that I put into place to punish setup. Both priority on every Pokemon, crit moves to bypass defense boost from bulk up in this case. So both of those will check setup, and then not to mention there's literally like priority Topsy-Turvy and Heart Swap to also prevent setup, and Taunt on every lead for the most part, and most leads will have Taunt. Just to stop you from setting up on the lead. But yeah, in general, great Pokemon. Like I said, that Intimidate bulk is huge. He's very tanky. Rufflet is totally good until level 32. You'll have Braviary for Olivia, which will be nice, but Rufflet is totally great until then. Very strong with Hustle, 83 base attack. With Hustle is well over 100 and like 130 something base attack, probably 140-ish, 150-ish if I had to do the exact math. It's very powerful. And then of course you have a good speed tier as well. I did drop the HP just because I try to base HP a little bit more on size now, and 70 HP is like more of an average, like, okay, this is an average sized Pokemon, and Ruffled's a tiny little chick. It's not that small. 50 HP is pretty fair, and it's a little bit bulkier because of the defenses, so it might be overall fairly, but it doesn't matter. It's faster and has really good abilities. So you can switch between Scrappy and Hustle. You use Hustle when you need that power boost. You also have moves that won't miss, and you also have Home Claws, but stuff like Priority Quick Attack and Aerial Ace won't miss, as well as a couple other moves. Not too many, but you know, a good enough amount. U-turn won't miss, you know, stuff like that. And then of course you have Scrappy just to not miss if you don't need the power boost for a certain fight, and also to hit a ghost type if you needed to, but that's pretty situational in game. But it's nice to have that infinite usability capsule, and especially for Braviary to swap between Sheer Force and Intimidate, it's really nice. I considered a couple other abilities for Braviary. I considered Hustle, which I would have really liked, but I opted not to do it. And then I considered a couple more, but I ended up settling on this. Defiant is not that good in game. It's very good for the early game especially, but later on it punishes Intimidate, but that's mostly it because the stat dropping moves are a little bit less common late game. But earlier in the game they're everywhere, and of course as the player you should be abusing those throughout the game. Like Parting Shot, for example, you know, switch it on a Parting Shot, you get +1 attack overall net gain, so that's pretty great. But I opted just to have Sheer Force over Defiant for the more reliable damage boost, because Dueling Beat and all these other new moves are boosted. Otherwise, that's really about it. Dive Bomb is flying type high jump kick, which is pretty cool. Z Mirror move is really nice, it gives you +2 attack and its priority. Sky Drop is pretty strong for earlier in the game, 95 base power. Flail Reversal is pretty strong. It's just a good mon. I don't know what else to say here. You got really good Sheer Force boosted coverage. Health Thrust is technically Sheer Force boosted, as well as Zen Headbutt, Lunge, and Rock Slide, and Poison Jab, and Iron Head. So those are all really good coverage moves that are, oh, and Play Rough. Those are all good coverage moves that are Sheer Force boosted. So definitely give those a look as well. Yeah, that's about it. Like I said, he can really fulfill that defensive role really nicely because of the reteachable roost, so you're not burdened by having to keep the healing move the whole game, because Move Learner isn't until the late game. So keep having that roost reteachable option is very nice. Parting Shot and stuff, Intimidate, it's a great Pokemon for defensive use as well. It's not just an offensive Pokemon. Same goes for every Pokemon, for the most part. I try to keep them so that they can do multiple things. So if you're smart and you make the most out of your Pokemon, you can get a lot of leverage out of one team slot. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for listening, everybody, and I'll be back for more about Pokemon coming up. Peace.